Hey, welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair. Welcome to Streaming Idiots. I tell you what, we have got a show for you today. It is, you know what it is? It's the Hobo Show. We did a video a while back. It was a live show, but we recorded it to YouTube. That was a budget streaming setup. And I realized later on, we should have called it, way back then, we should have called it the Hobo Streaming Setup. Well, today, we've got the ultimate Hobo Streaming Setup. It is so much fun. I can't wait to get to it. But before I get to it, the idea behind this show is that one guy, moi, with one PC, and it's right over here, can really do a good broadcast. One guy, one PC, one awesome broadcast. And you don't have to have a room full of PCs. You don't have to have all sorts of fancy equipment, although it's nice when you can afford it. But you can start out with the Hobo setup if you want to. How about that for an intro? So today we're going to talk about the Hobo setup. We're going to talk about the not Hobo setup. That's our new BOLT4 Thunderbolt 4-port video capture device that's really super cool. We're going to talk about the Streaming Media Reader's Choice Awards as they pertain to what we're doing. And then we're going to talk about ISO recording, what they call the MultiCorder in vMix. So we've got a full agenda. So let's get going. Oh, before I forget, because I forget this every time, welcome to our YouTube watchers, viewers. We're glad to have you here. We hope you'll subscribe. And we also would invite you guys to follow us on Twitter. It's at ES Broadcasting 1, and that's the number 1. And follow us on Facebook at Eastern Shore, the initial B, Eastern Shore B. It's short for broadcasting. And that way you can kind of get updated on when we do stuff that you might be interested in. If you subscribe on YouTube, depending on how your subscription works, they'll send you an email and let you know that we've posted a new video. Or they'll just put a tag on your YouTube account the next time you sign in. It'll say, hey, that Sinclair guy's got a new video up. So do that, and you'll regret it. You can tell it. People are in the pre-show today. We were talking about all sorts of things. It was just. It was. We won't go there. We won't go there. It wasn't fit for prime time. Tommy, talking about you. Okay, so the Hobo rig. Okay, here's the idea with the Hobo rig. For years, I searched for what I would call the holy grail of a broadcasting rig, where you could get 4 ports of video into a small, inexpensive PC that any camera could attach to. And it's been out there for years, and I just stumbled across it. Maybe I'm the last one to find it. Maybe everybody else has already found it, and you're going to laugh at me and say, oh yeah, we knew about that years ago. But here's the Hobo rig. The Hobo rig is, I started out with my Dell 15, oh golly, I've got it written down here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Dell 1521 Inspiron PC. Now that's a dual core, AMD dual core, slow as molasses PC. It's so old. No, I won't even go there on that. It does have an Expresscard slot on it though. Not a PCI MIA or whatever that thing was. It has an Expresscard slot, and that's the key in this particular example. And so there's a device out there that I found made by a company called the letter B, Plus, P-L-U-S, Bplus, and they're out of Taiwan. And it is a PE4h, PE4h. And the PE4h hooks up to lots of different, hooks up to PCs 3 different ways. One is through this Expresscard thing. One is through a PCIe card, which defeats the purpose of it because it's a PCIe extender. And the third is by the mini PCIe card, which I guess plugs into the mini PCIe slots in your laptop, or if you've got them on your desktop. And it provides one 16-lane PCIe slot. That's pretty cool. Okay, actually, oh, you would think I would have it here with me, but it's on the other side of the room. I've already put it away because I was like, okay, well, I'm done with this thing. Let's see if we can. I want to bring this up, but freeze it. So let me make some changes there, and I want to just show you what it looks like. This is the thing. Now, the big green thing in the middle, that's an Osprey 450E, which is a 4-port standard definition capture card. But what you want to look at is the thing underneath it, that black thing that's mounted to the brown thing that has the wire coming out of the side of it. And yes, that is a PC power supply on the far side. But you can see the connectors coming out of the video card, the Osprey. And the Osprey, of course, is only a 4-lane video card anyway, so it doesn't need the full 16. But the cable that's coming out towards us goes into the laptop. Well, this is a video, so let me go ahead and play the video and make sure everything is got right with that. Okay. So let's go ahead and play the video and make sure I have that video audio just right. Let's try that. Here we go. Let's give this a shot. This is my Hobo rig. Currently it is powering a Osprey 450E 4-port standard definition capture card. You can see I've got 4 inputs plugged in on the right side. It plugs into my PC, actually into my old Dell 1521 laptop through the Expresscard slot here on the side. And it is powered, at least for the moment, by an old power supply that I had hanging around. There is a brick that you can buy for it. I didn't want to do that until I knew it was going to work. The ATX power supply is way more than obviously that we need for this little card, but there's a little connector there for a brick. And obviously this would need to be in a case of some sort if it was going to be used long term. But let me show you what it does. Oh, looks like camera number 1 is not working. Well, let's go up camera number 2. This is just a shot out the front window. Camera number 3, camera number 4. This is 864 by 480 video in a Dell dual core laptop with VidBlaster 4.10. And I would have used vMix, but I only have the basic edition on this PC, which only allows for 2 camera captures. So we needed to illustrate that all 4 cams were actually working here. And they are. So that's it. It really was kind of simple. I was anticipating a little more difficult installation, but once I tried one card, and the first card just didn't work. I think it may have not been a good card. But so I pulled the old Osprey 450E out, and it fired right up. Had to install the drivers, of course. And basically the PC sees this card as if it were installed. Even though it's just a laptop, it thinks it's somehow installed in that little Expresscard slot right there. So I would say this Hobo setup is a little bit of a jury rig, but it does work. It does work. And this device with the cable and the Expresscard doesn't include the Osprey card, of course, doesn't include the power supply, but includes the base and the PCIe 16X connector, was under $100, and I think there's actually one out there on the market that's about $120 that actually includes a case. So that's it. Hobo setup. Pretty cool. It is definitely pretty cool. And here is a quick look at the Hobo setup. You can see the Expresscard right in the middle is the one that I used. And the big black thing is actually my brown thing. But my brown thing, apparently the brown is paper that you can peel off, and so I had not peeled it off. Let's see, we'll go back to that. shot for just a second. You can see the brown where actually once I peel off that sticky paper. This setup, you know, the Osprey 450E is probably a good example in this particular setup too, because the card was discontinued several years ago in favor of the 460E, which was the later, greater standard definition capture card. It was like, you know, $1,200, which now you can get for $1,200. You can get 4-port SDI or HDMI capture card. It's amazing what's happened in the industry. So these cards, the 450E and the 460E, are on sale for, you know, 30 cents on the dollar, 40 cents on the dollar if you can find them. In fact, I've got one that I'd love to let go of. Shoot me an email, tom@easternshorebroadcasting.com if you're interested. In fact, that's the card right there. And it works great. And it's a good example of the Hobo setup. The idea that you can take an inexpensive PC, you know, whatever you can find, and we'll use a laptop as our example. And the caveat is the laptop has to have an Expresscard slot. Now, the Expresscard that we put in it, as you can see from this example right up here, is the 34. So that's the narrow Expresscard. There was a 54 wide, millimeter wide, and then a 34 millimeter wide, and this is the 34. So it fits lots more laptops. The laptop that I'm using, I think, is about 7 years old. Don't quote me on that. I'm thinking it was like 2008, 2009 when I got it. Could be older than that. Could be. I'd have to check. I should have checked. But I mean, it's just a great example of what you can do in those circumstances. So laptop, whatever that would cost. This PC, oh golly, what is it? The PE4h-EC606 version 3.0. Now apparently version 3.2 is the same thing, but in a case and with a power supply. And it's this particular example shows an MSI video card, but the principle would be the same. It would be powered. You can see the Expresscard there. This is about $170. So you say, okay, $170, and then, you know, $400 for the capture card, and there's going to be some shipping in there. So $400, $500, $600. You got $600 into 4 ports of capture. And if you've got the Osprey card on hand, if you got the laptop card on hand, your only cost is this $170. So I think it's pretty cool. Now the one that's right up here was less than $100, and it doesn't have a box with it. That's the thing. It's got a little base to it, and so it'd be good for testing. In fact, I think that's how they sell it, as a card test base. But most everybody that buys them to put a video card in. And I thought, well, okay, video output so they can do their gaming and have a good-sized monitor that has a good response. But we're really interested not so much on video out, because that's going out over the internet, as we are video in. And so this was a great way, a hobo way, the hobo way to do this kind of streaming. So that's that, and let me get this set up right here so you can see what little you can see. We have been working long and hard. We're going to shift gears for just a second to, whoops, that's not the shot I wanted. How about this shot right here? There we go. This has been something that we've been working on for, I don't know, a couple of months now. It is a 4-port This particular version is 4 ports of HDMI input. It's, you know, it's kind of like the same Hobo idea, except it's a lot more expensive. But it's Thunderbolt. So this would attach to a laptop, or if you have a PC with Thunderbolt, to your PC, and allow you to bring in 4 ports of high definition video, either HDMI or the other version is SDI. And it just a little retro box. I think the box itself kind of reminds me more of where is it? There we go. Something like you might find in Lost in Space. You know, that old TV show where it showed the robot, and this would have been something that the robot would have used. You know, this would have been a robot device of some kind. But it's cool. The list price is, and if you're making notes on this kind of stuff, we're going to have it in our store later this week. The list price for this little beast is $14.99, and that's Thunderbolt 4 ports video capture. We are going to have it marked down, I think, initially to $12.99, just to kind of draw some interest. Now we're also going to bundle this. This is the fun part. We're going to bundle this with vMix, so you can get a vMix enabled Thunderbolt box like this. We're going to send it with vMix HD, which would make sense to sell it with the SD version. But the HD version normally is priced at $350, but we're going to bundle it with this box and sell it for only $300 more. So it'll be regular $17.99, but again, introductory $15.99. Is that right? No, excuse me. Yeah, that's right, $15.99. So it's only $300 more for the $350 VidBlaster. We did a couple of shows with this box when it was in prototyping about a month and a half ago, and did 4 ports of HDMI capture, and it was beautiful. Now the audio was crummy because we were doing it on a laptop that we hadn't set up the audio on properly, so we probably ought to do another show with this in the future. But this is a lot of fun putting together, and we've got these almost ready to go, but we'll be taking orders for them. And whoops, that's not the shot that we need to go to. Let's go to this shot. We'll be taking orders for them, and they'll be shipping within 10 days. Within 10 days. So if it's something you're interested in, shoot me an email. We'll be putting it in the store hopefully tomorrow or tonight, and then shipping them in about 10 days or less. We'd rather over what is it? Under promise and over perform. Welcome, Martin. Good to see you here. Okay, so that's the BOLT4 capture device with 4 ports of HDMI or SDI video input via Thunderbolt. And you say, okay, well, I don't have Thunderbolt. Well, here's the scenario that I'm imagining. There are not a lot, but a significant number of Windows laptops that have Thunderbolt connections. Dell, I think it's the Alien version has Thunderbolt. Sager has Thunderbolt, and the Asus ROG laptop series, most of those have Thunderbolt. And then there are some motherboards that also have either Thunderbolt on the motherboard or an add-in card with Thunderbolt. And I'm imagining that something like this becomes a dual-purpose device. That is, for your portable rig, your laptop rig that goes out to various outside events, you take this, you plug in Thunderbolt, and away you go. For your inside stuff in your studio, you plug this into your studio PC, and so you have 2 different PCs, but one capture device, and one capture device that allows you to do both. Obviously not at the same time, but you don't have to invest in 2 high-dollar capture devices for, you just need the 2 PCs. In fact, I might be tempted, if I didn't already have this rig, to use a laptop here inside the studio. But you're going to do it your way. Let me know what your thoughts are. Love to hear from you about that. Moving right along. This is so good. Somebody asked, is there a problem with Dell and vMix? No, there's a problem with Dell and Blackmagic. That's where the problems really lie, is that the Blackmagic capture cards and the Dell motherboards just don't get along. They don't get along. Streaming Media Magazine. If you haven't already subscribed to it, and you're old school like me and you like to actually get the magazine, by all means do. It's streamingmedia.com, and you can sign up for it online, and they have an online version too, but I just like getting this one, and I can read through it when I'm sitting down drinking a cup of coffee or something like that. But in the back of this edition, let me go to the front of it. Yeah, here we go, is the Reader's Choice Award winners. And this is anything from, oh golly, the first one is an audio mixer and a cellular bonding solution, and a field recorder monitor, the enterprise video format. Let's see, what are some of the things that you might be interested in? Let's see, let's look at the live video platform. Ustream was the winner. Decast, the service that we use, was a runner-up, as was something called The Platform. We'll have to take a look at The Platform and see if they're good. And this is just basically a popularity contest. Portable live streaming appliance. The TerraDeck was the winner with the VidU Mini, but the TriCaster Mini, excuse me, was a runner-up along with something called the Streambox Drone Encoder Pro. Boy, easy for you to say. Let's go back here to what I really want to see. Webcasting presentation solution on premises. Telestream Wirecast was the winner. NewTek, and then something called Sonic Foundry Media Site was the runner-up. Thought that was interesting. No mention of VidBlaster or vMix, our other big three. Video switchers right here, the Blackmagic, 4K, the ATM 4K, and then runners-up were Roland Systems Group for the Roland V1200 HD, which is a hardwire switcher, and the Telestream Wirecast. So really cool. I would commend Streaming Media to you. Sometimes they have articles that are, I think, really, really interesting. This particular edition, I've thumbed through it and frankly didn't find anything other than the Reader's Choice Awards and the ads that I thought were interesting. So streamingmedia.com is a way to get your subscription to Streaming Media Magazine. Now, let's see. Now let's take a look at well, let me back up. I got an email from Pastor Rich, and Pastor Rich said, you know, we were doing our services last week, and the tech guy got up during the middle of the service to go to the bathroom. And, you know, that's not a problem. People have to go to the bathroom all the time. Tommy will tell you about that. And just teasing Tommy. And when he went to the bathroom, he left the stream on a capture. He was capturing Easy Worship or something like that. And so he had it on a capture, and he left it on the capture and left it on the capture. And whatever was going on in the service was going on, and he just left it on this capture. And when he got back, it was like, oh my gosh, you know, that wasn't what we wanted. They knew they could have fixed it in post-production, but they didn't have anything to put in its place. What they wanted, obviously, was to have the camera shot that it should have been on all along. And the solution that they had, that we're running vMix HD, was to upgrade to vMix 4K, the 4K version, because the 4K version, not that it does 4K, which of course it does, But it has a feature in it in vMix called MultiCorder. 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 Okay, you got it. MultiCorder. And MultiCorder is an ISO. It allows you to take the stream, the feed, the video feed from each one of the cameras, or as many cameras as you want to, and record them simultaneously but separately. And so let me show you how that works. So I'm going to bring up my desktop here, and this is me over here on the left in preview, and then over to my right over there is program window with the red border on the top. And in order to do that, I'm going to do MultiCorder, and the MultiCorder, you can't see my my mouse, but down here at the bottom of the screen you can see MultiCorder kind of flashing off and on. And I'm going to click the little gear icon there and bring up the MultiCorder window. And the MultiCorder window is kind of like the regular recorder in that you have a choice of AVI, MKV, MP4, or FFmpeg as your recording methods, and various codecs depending on which one of the selections that you make. If you go to FFmpeg, you've got lots of choices. MP4, you've got a bitrate choice, and MKV, you've got a codec choice. Let's just leave it on AVI for the second. And then you've got a place where you can pick up the audio. In this case, we're going to take the input, and we'll do a new file every X number of minutes. In our case, we don't care because we're not going to do it for very long. And then below that are my cameras. And you see I've got 4 cameras on my system today. The main cam, that's that one right here. And then the Logitech C310, which is on my desktop, the old over-the-shoulder C920, and the overhead C920. So the 4 different cams. I've just picked 2 of those by checking them right there to check. And I can also change the recording folder. Right now they're set up to go to the C drive, and let's make them, whoops, highlight an input first. Oh, don't know what that means. Oh, I see, there we go. We'll do that. So we can take it down and put it on the data drive. And now they're all going to the E drive. So I can start this. That's your cue to start there, buddy. And it worked earlier. Oh, there we go. Okay. And we'll minimize that, and we can see down at the bottom here that the MultiCorder is now running, and I am recording essentially 2 channels, this channel and the other channel. And let's go ahead and stop it. So we can stop it just by clicking there. We can go back in. We can see that's all our settings. So we'll X out of that. And then I'll just go into Windows. Let me bring up if I bring up Windows, yeah, you can see the windows right there. And we'll go over to the E drive and see that there is the MultiCorder. Looks like I must have started it and stopped it and then started it again, because we've got 4 different versions here. And we can bring one up. It says this item is encoded in a format that's not supported. Well, then I need to be more careful in the future. I didn't test it this far. So it's a matter of getting my AVI file in a manner. Well, let's see if I can just import it. Bear with me just for a second. Let's add an input. We'll browse to the E drive. Let's select one of these files. We'll open it up. And yeah, there it is. So we can play it. And that's all there was to it. It was but just a few seconds. Yep. Okay. So, how can I get myself back? Where am I? Here I am. Okay. So, doing a MultiCorder recording in vMix is really pretty simple. And obviously, like I didn't do, you'll want to test it and make sure it's compatible with whatever you're going to do. For example, if you're going to use it in post-production, you want to test that file, whatever the file settings are, and make sure that in your post-production software that you can open it and manipulate the video the way you want. You also may want to play with some of the different methods of recording so that the file sizes are more appropriate for whatever you're doing. Means I'm trying to think of what comes next. That's what Tracy Goodwin would say. Tracy's coming up on the show. We haven't set a date yet, but remember, she's the red sweater lady that talks about how to communicate and how to keep your audience's attention. Dressing up in costumes is apparently not part of the deal. So, that's it for the show today. Boy, how's that for an abrupt ending? We got the Hobo rig, we've got the BOLT4, we looked at Streaming Media Magazine Awards and the MultiCorder, so 4 good topics there. I hope you had something there that you could sink your teeth into. Please be sure and subscribe to us. If you're watching us on YouTube and you made it this far in the YouTube, thumbs up to you. But subscribe, because obviously that means you're enjoying laughing at me or whatever. Coming up in future shows, we probably will do a show with the BOLT4 again, now that we've got it completely finished, so you guys can see what that looks like in real life. And we will be doing some more shows with the Ghetto rig, trying to hook up the Ghetto rig to other pieces of to other PCs and use other capture devices in it. I really want to see if it'll do a 4-port or any kind of port high definition capture on that little laptop. That's going to be interesting to see. I am Tom Sinclair. It has been my pleasure to bring this show to you today. And I guess, let's see, let's go back to, there we go. That's the shot that I wanted. It's been a treat to be with you today. If I can help you in any way, shoot me an email, tom@easternshorebroadcasting.com. Visit our store for any products that you might want to purchase, knowing that you will get personal tech support from me. And have a great day. Talk soon. Bye now.